Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
We got another cool morning. I feel like eventually it's going to be hot, and we've got to think we actually will have a dilemma to face in here.
Yeah, you're right, because the air conditioner
It's loud.
creates enough noise interference. Yeah, we have not run into that problem really yet, which I guess recording at 4:30 in the morning helps because
Yeah.
even the warm days we've had so far, it's not that warm this time of day.
No,
It's
no, it
pretty
isn't.
comfortable out. It's either cool or comfortable.
Yeah. Well, that's what I've got to figure that one out because that's what I was thinking about even on the other show as well. I'm like, man, what am I going to do? Because a lot of times those are in might be in the middle of the day.
Right.
So I don't know, but yeah, cool morning. So we got a variety of topics this morning. There, it sounds like, and I'll man, whatever you wanna, if you wanna roll into one of yours.
Yeah, so like we always say, we love questions, and so I got one actually submitted on one of my YouTube videos, but from Tyler, and he is a podcast listener, said he would be happy for us to answer it on the podcast, and it was one that requires a little more discussion. So I thought, yeah, okay, that'd be a good place to answer that one. But as I think I mentioned last week, we were getting ready to buy calves when we recorded. So we bought calves, which we recorded early last week. So we've now bought calves 2 weeks in a row since then. I had 45 came in last week, and then my brother had 45 more just a couple of days ago. But he was asking, we bought a bunch of steers and bulls. He said, why do you, I'll read his exact question. Can you answer a question on why you buy bulls versus steers? Is it not enough steers at the sale barn you're buying through, or are the bulls more profitable than the steers? Apparently, they run a stocker operation too, so they're usually seeing better weight gain with the steers. He just wanted to know our question.
Yeah.
And the simple answer on why we buy both is yes, just to get to the numbers we want, because we're buying a very specific animal. They have to be black-hided, and they have to be males, of course, a bull or a steer.
Yeah.
That's the question applied. And right at 600 pounds. I think the group I bought averaged 590. My brother's group was 593, so they were even uniform between the two groups. And yes, there's just not enough. If you could get enough of just bulls or just steers, that's when we would have a decision to make, which way we would want to go. And
would you go steers?
Well, the thing is can you buy the bulls cheap enough, relative to the steers to make them the better value?
Yeah.
And so typically I say if we can buy the bulls $10 to $15 cheaper, per hundredweight, and then I looked at mine and broke it down just on my ticket. I bought the bulls exactly $10 cheaper. We paid $1.57 for them, paid $1.67 per pound for the steers.
So really, if you were gonna buy like 10, it don't matter.
Yeah, if you were going to buy 10, especially, it depends on what market you're going to buy through. Like,
Yeah.
And we had to buy these. They ship them 150 miles to us.
Yeah.
Because there's just nowhere around here. But yeah, like if you were buying 10 there at that same place where we were, yeah, you might even decide that morning based on how they're selling early on, like, okay, the bulls are significantly cheaper than steers this week. I'm buying the bulls. I would, like I said, I want to buy them $10 to $15 cheaper. These are only 10.
Yeah.
So we do think the steers do take off and grow better. I mean, because the bulls, they're going through all the same stress as the steers are. Plus, you're putting a band around the scrotum.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's a few days there soon thereafter where they don't do a lot of growing. They probably even go backwards a little.
Yeah.
And, too, if they're already a steer, somebody's already taken the time to cut them or band them, they've probably been vaccinated, probably been dewormed. They've just been taken a little better care of.
Well, that's what I was actually going to tell you or ask you to explain the difference, which you pretty much did. For somebody that's listening, because, we got some people that listen that don't have a clue about cattle, but, just a steer is basically already a cut bull.
Yeah. A steer has no testicles. Yeah. He's a
eunuch.
He's a castrated or neutered bull, essentially. Yeah. But and that's more desirable, because then that's just, well, why do you care? I mean, obviously you can't breed anymore, but what does it matter? We're going to eat him anyway. Well, just behaviorally, they give you a lot less trouble. A lot of people do think the meat's not like, if there's still a bull, it can be real strong.
Yeah.
Like with wild game, people say, because obviously they're all still intact. You can taste a big difference. But it's more behaviorally, especially once they get to like the feedlot stage. You're going to have less undesirable behaviors, fighting and whatnot. I mean,
yeah,
the steers are still always, because again, we're buying them right at 600 pounds. They're like a bunch of teenagers, basically. They're always getting, I'll pull up later this morning to feed them, and all the feed bunks will be flipped over.
Yeah.
And just stuff like that. Or
yeah,
like, thankfully the farm we've got them on, I really don't have anything else there but cows. But like, if you got them on like an old farm where you got a bunch of junk laying around, they will get into, you want them fenced out of anything like that, out of any equipment areas or anything.
Now let me ask you too on that, because obviously I got those two young bulls, and I haven't, I have always said I kind of just hobby have them for the most part, and I mean we literally just take them in for bottle calves. So like I haven't even run them cows in anything. I did, I guess, put some dewormer just on them when I was feeding them one day, and I'll sprinkle some like python dust for the flies and do little things like that. But they both are still, all intact bulls. Does the still having that, does that make them get bigger any quicker because they got that testosterone going?
Maybe a little, but see, we implant, and so that's going to offset, and it's. I'd have to, and I'm sure there probably is some research out there as far as, just looking at two big control, similar groups, but this group was left intact. This one was.
What if you did not implant?
I don't know. I don't know the exact answer there. The steers are a lot more valuable.
Yeah.
Like we said, they're about $10 a hundredweight.
Yeah.
More valuable at this weight. I would dare say you get into a lot bigger gap. Because see, we'll sell these; they'll be $850 or so. Hopefully, maybe even bigger than that.
Yeah.
Hopefully, they grow really well. And at that size, of course, they're pretty much too big.
Yeah.
You're just going to have to finish them out as kill bulls instead of steers. And there's probably a lot bigger price difference there because they're just got to be bulls, and that's not going to be like your premium product as far as beef.
Yeah.
And so. Yeah, we traditionally say, well, we don't care because we can still make them a bull, or make a steer at that 600 pounds or so size. But they don't probably take off and gain quite as well. So if it was equal money, you'd want nothing but steers if you could get your hands on that many. Which that is an issue here. Other people that are much more in the loop as far as industry wide are saying we're kind of short on these stockers right now. And so I don't know. We thankfully were able to get, which I had wanted. Let's say I got 45, he got 45. I'm actually taking 5 of his because he only wanted about 40, but I really wanted more like 55. So I'd really like to get my hands on just a few more. But as we found out last year, we'd rather buy them all together at one time. They come in all together. If I try to go to like one of our more local auctions and buy me just another 5 or 6, 7 more or something. They just didn't do as well.
Yeah.
So
I did see where they've got a new ownership or something of the Somerville.
When was that information?
Just a few days ago, I saw on Facebook.
So they're going to open back up. See, it closed.
Yeah. I'm like, it was some guy.
So somebody else is going to give it a go over there.
I guess so.
And I hope they do. It's still,
let's see,
like when it closed, I guess first of the year that they hadn't had a sale there this year in 2022, but I was disappointed to see it, but I was like, well, heck, it was such a
sale. They put up 18 hours ago, sale every Tuesday at 12 noon.
So they're going to get it back going. Well, I'm glad they are. And I hope they,
well, let me tell you the guy's name is James Linville. Have you heard of, it said he managed sale barns for 20 plus years. He has owned Scotts Hill Stock Barn for 14 years now.
So I've heard of Scotts Hill. It's just, and I was a guest on another podcast earlier this week where we kind of, that was one of the things we really talked about. There's not that many cows right around here. We're in row crop country. You know,
those bastards.
Right, exactly. Well, I'll look at the report for.
Yeah, give a shout out to the podcast you were on.
So I was on the Ag State of Mind podcast, and specifically they have a kind of a side or a mini series. I don't know what the right term is. They just do once a month. It's called the Ranching Side Hustle. And so it looks at, folks like me who farm, ranch, whatever, have cattle just on the side,
Yeah.
And so I was a guest of theirs for that little segment. But,
awesome.
So we buy through Dixon, Tennessee, about 150 miles away. They had 1,300 head this week. They had 1,380 a week ago. So I mean, that's the kind of numbers they're running.
Yeah, which sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, for like Tennessee auction barns. Oh yeah, the Somerville sale barn, like literally 10% of that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do they have about 100?
Like on a big week, they might have 250, 300.
Yeah,
traditionally over the last several years, and like I think the day I most recently sold just a few heifers and some cull cows, and that was in February, so it was after Somerville had closed. So I went to Trenton, which was run by the same outfit, and I think there were I don't think there were 100 there that day.
Really?
Which the weather was a little bit crappy.
Yeah.
Like it tends to be in February, but it was just like, man, and when you don't, and it's hard because it's like, well, if you don't have a lot there, then you don't have a lot of buyers there. And so then you don't have a lot coming there.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you ever get going?
Yeah.
It was kind of like I was complaining about YouTube. You can't get an audience on YouTube because you don't have an audience.
Yeah.
On YouTube.
Yeah. You're not shown to anybody until you have an audience.
Yeah.
It's like the old thing where when people would be looking for a job and it'd be like looking for new hires, but you had to have 20 years of experience to start. Yeah. And it's like, so how do I have 20 years of experience immediately? To start this new position.
Yeah. And so I don't know. We need a barn in this area. I will have a hard time. Like I say, when I'm selling sometimes, when I'm selling just a few cows or a few odd calves here or there, I'll go to more of the local barn because it doesn't pay for me to travel, pencil out for me to ship them 150 miles to a bigger auction. Us buying, there's no way to ever buy that many that are that specific, because we bought 45 each of the last 2 weeks. We didn't buy probably every single animal that fit exactly what we wanted, but probably close to it. Yeah, because that's 1,300 animals that includes everything that was there that day. Yeah, heifers, steers, all different sizes, all different colors. Y'all would buy 90% of the cows there if you went to Somerville. Right. If y'all were going to buy at the full 90. Say if they have 120 head there this week. I mean, that's, a good chunk of those are just going to be old cull cows. They ain't even going to be anything close to what we're looking for. Yeah. But I'll tell you this, in times past, I would go over there and try to buy, and I would buy dang near everything that fit what I wanted, and I would come home with like 10. Really? Yeah. And wouldn't be quite as uniform as these. Yeah. They might average the same, but if you want them to average 600, you're going to be buying them everywhere from 525 to 675. Yeah. 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 I mean, like I said, and it does suck because it's a nice facility over there too. Well, it is, because I've gone to several others around, and it's, it's as far as you think of just handling big numbers of animals, it's right by the interstate, basically. Yeah. Not far at all. It's easy to get in and out of there. It's not like in town. Yeah. Like some of these other ones you go to, like the sale barn, and it's kind of like a lot of things we can play out in agriculture. The town kind of engulfs them. Like when they were built, they were, much more on the outskirts of town. And then now they're right. So that's not, and it's usually not too big of a deal, but you're like, if a gate gets busted down and an animal gets loose here, it's running through the town. Yeah, it might be at the McDonald's parking lot, before you know it. Which, I mean, hey, that's where he's ending up anyway. Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. Yeah. So, but yeah, I would be really excited. And I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer, but I wish them luck. I mean, a tough venture. If they can somehow scrap around and make it work with those smaller numbers and slowly build it up, you know, and I'd love if they could get to where they were consistently having 300, 400, 500 a week.
Yeah.
And that may be that's a tough ask probably, but yeah, it would certainly be the closest to us. And heck, that still ain't that close to us.
You're looking at about an hour.
Yeah,
it's an hour drive.
It's about an hour drive. But
yeah,
but that was close enough because, like you said, they're going to sell on Tuesdays. I mean, I work, you know, Tuesday. I'm unless it's a real odd week, I'm working on Tuesdays. But that's close enough where if I really needed to get rid of a few old cows or something, I'd get over and get unloaded early in the morning and still drive straight back to my office and be there before I got to start seeing patients.
Yeah.
So I do really hope that they can find some solid.
Yeah, I had just seen that just a few days ago.
That will be nice because, yeah, when we sell our big, like when I sell these, those 45, which I got some that I home raised, well, I'd like to have about 60 or 65 to ship. We will ship them back up to Dixon.
Yeah.
Or if not, if we ever quit selling there, we probably wouldn't be selling through the local barn. And hey, I'm not helping them out, but it's a really huge investment I've got. I'm going somewhere where I know I've got buyers ready to take, you know, a load lot like that.
Yeah. Well, I think that was a pretty good way. I think that answered his question pretty well.
Yeah. So I would love to buy just steers or just bulls if they were cheap enough. But yeah, we have to kind of mix and match to get the numbers we want.
Well, Tyler, we appreciate the question, man. Like I said, anytime send us questions. You can do that on the YouTube channel. And also I've got the other 2 videos finally edited. So those will be going up on YouTube as well. Leave us a comment on there. Let us know what you'd want, some questions you have for us. And one of the things, got a gnat flying right at me here. One of the things that I was going to talk about, and it was, I don't even remember where I found this, but it was a common question online. And it was, is an agriculture degree worth it? And I'm going to talk on it strictly from you're going to become a farmer. Because in your case, it would obviously be because you got to have it. You're a veterinarian. You know, you have to have that like undergrad level or whatever going into it. But I'm going to be honest, like for a guy that if your whole thing is you want to be a farmer, like you want to be a row crop farmer or whatever, in my opinion, no. Because I know quite a few guys that are running very large operations that never went to college. And I'm going to also say we live in the age of information where as a farmer, what I do, it doesn't matter if I have a plaque on the wall with a degree. You know, like when I go to rent land, I've never had a landowner say, do you have an ag degree? Like nobody cares. And I don't, there's no prerequisite, I guess, for needing a degree. So I actually would encourage people, if you're wanting to become a farmer and you're like, man, you know, should I go to Martin? Should I go to Mississippi State? Should I go study ag? Man, in my opinion, unless you just want to go to college, then no. I would actually encourage guys to go, one, you need to go get a job with a farmer. You need to go shadow a farmer, see what they're doing, because the flip side of the age of information is everybody now thinks that they can do anything. And farming is one of those things. You know, a guy grows him a garden and he's like, I'm a pretty good gardener here. Maybe I should become a 1,000-acre row crop farmer. And you're talking about a whole different ball game. So I would encourage you, go work for a farmer, kind of see what you think there. And man, you know, stuff like if you're wanting to get into cattle, you got your YouTube channel, you go in depth into that. There's a lot of really good ones. Even a lot of the like college extension programs have really good information out there. Like UT Ag Extension, for example, man, they have like programs. The Master Beef Producer, I actually had it up here, but it was in the way of our big cow skull here beside me. But
yeah, you got it over there.
You
can see it on the camera.
The Master Beef Producer, there's even a row crop thing now, Master Row Cropper. If you're a fisherman, a Master Baiter. Thank no, just kidding. But you know, there's a lot of programs now that, in all honesty, if I was gonna go back now and was like gonna try to get straight into farming, but still thinking about the college thing, I would spare those 4 years and jump right into it.
Right. I would say, because of course, being an ag major, and then I was also in an ag fraternity, and so I lived with 50 guys that were all ag majors.
Yeah.
But majority of them weren't going back to the farm. I'm trying to think. I can think of a few that have gone back, and that is all they do.
Yeah.
Farm on their own. I actually know of a couple. I know of at least one that is managing a huge farming operation, and so he probably doesn't get that role without the degree.
Yeah.
But most of them are going into like ag retail,
Yeah.
or ag sales, or they're selling crop insurance now. They're doing something in the industry, but they're not a grower or operator. And so, and I would, as I think of those guys, that are, they're more like you, they're doing, it'd be a good question to ask them, like, if they had it to do over again, do they think going to college? And most of them, like, while we were in school, it was kind of like, they weren't real sure if they were going back to the farm, maybe, or, of course, ag being as volatile as it is, weren't real sure. Wanted something, if I decide after, 10, 15 years, it just ain't working.
Yeah.
And I'm going to sell out, and then, of course, having a degree then will help me, maybe stay in the industry. But
that's what I've kind of wondered, if some of them, it's almost part of like a backup plan.
Well, again, most of the people I knew that were getting ag degrees weren't,
becoming farmers.
Yeah, that they weren't wanting to go back and, home and start a farm or rejoin the family farm. Some.
Yeah.
But, man, I was in school with some guys that while they were in school, if they were going to be the next generation, farm sold.
Yeah.
And it
is from a volatility standpoint, I can see, but like where
just as far as what you do on a day-to-day basis, having going, which what I would, and I don't understand, where I think there is maybe a lack of education sometimes with operators, is just when all the technology nowadays, my gosh, and that is only going to just become, the growth there's going to be exponential. I feel like over the next, 20, 30, 50 years. And so some of these, I've seen like some of the advertisements, maybe it's their Dyersburg Steak for like precision ag, stuff like, I don't know how good of a program that is, but, maybe doing something like that, just so, which, I mean, most, if we're talking to teenagers out there, whatever, they're making a career decision, heck, you've grown up with so much technology, you can probably figure a lot of that stuff out. But the precision ag thing may be an area where, you really need to reach out and educate. You mentioned Master Beef. I had somebody ask me about that last night. Just messaging me, and which I told them, I was like, it's a really good, really, program with all that information. Now, not that I'm sitting here saying I know everything. It was a little bit, for somebody that had an animal science degree, not even a veterinary degree, but just, you've probably gotten most of that through your animal science course.
So you had the moment in Parks and Rec whenever Ron Swanson goes through the hardware store and the guy comes walking up to him and is like, "Hey, sir, how can I help you today?" And he goes, "I know more than you."
Right. Well, and I wouldn't be that arrogant at all, just because now some of these guys, they specialize in very specific areas. So I did learn stuff. Yeah. But for some part, it was like, okay, this is kind of more geared at, somebody just getting in.
Which is good though.
No, it's a great program. I was complaining to the guy I was talking to last night. I was like, what I think silly is they make you redo it like every 3 years. Yeah, like you forget the information. Yeah, I was like, so they're saying one of two things. Either the information has changed drastically in 3 years, so much that you need to come back and learn all the new stuff, or they're saying, you dumbass, you can't remember anything. And they do try to like, it's kind of funny because we went through it was the Master Beef program. Yeah. Then it was the Advanced Master Beef program. Yeah. And they want you to keep having to do it because, I mean, obviously it's
getting money.
Yeah, it's a money generator for them. And that's
And it is,
about jobs.
it's not crazy expensive. What is it, 125?
Oh yeah, it's not bad. It's more
But
the pain in the butt of, because again, we're not in cattle country, so over here they don't do one in every county. Like we usually have to drive, a couple of counties over even.
Yeah.
So it was just, when you and I took it, it wasn't too bad. We had to drive like
Braden,
45 minutes. The last time I took it, it was like an hour and a half drive one way, and it was instead of them doing it like over the course of like a couple of months, it was like a long weekend. We did it seemed like a Thursday, a Friday, and a Saturday.
Man, that seems like a lot, man.
Yeah, it was an hour and a half driving one way for 3 straight days. But anyway.
See, I updated mine, but I did it through Zoom.
Well, whenever one of the few bright spots with COVID, they started offering it and you could do it over Zoom. I wasn't even due to renew mine for like another year or two.
Yeah.
I was like, well, hell, while I can do it without having to drive, that far, I'm just going to go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
It was worth the $100 or whatever to do it, to go ahead and have mine renewed for one more year. Because I laugh, I'm like, what are they going to, now is it going to be like the super advanced master beef?
Yeah, where are they going to go from here? Yeah, I mean, they should have just been like the beef producer originally. Because it's like now they've set themselves up for failure.
Then they could have used the master.
Then the master. And then it's like
if I live long enough, I'm going to be like
a mega master.
I don't even know. They want the damn diploma will have to be so big or the print so small.
Yeah.
To list off all the titles
extraordinary advanced master beef producer.
That'll probably be the next one. It is a good program. I don't want to just sit up here and clown on it, but it's, well, another thing, this guy was pointing out, is like, to get the cost share, you have to do it. Because that's the whole reason. Like, that's the carrot they dangle in front of you for you to apply.
That was why me and you originally did it. I mean, I will just be straight up. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's why I would say 90% of people are there. Some people are there like they just really want to learn.
Yeah.
But what it is to apply for the Tennessee Agriculture Enhancement Program, cost share. But one thing I figured out here recently, you do not have to be master beef certified. Apparently they can't. I guess they probably can't legally say you have to do that.
Yeah.
They have to open it up to all people who qualify based on other factors. But, I think the maximum dollar amount you can get right now is $2,000. And that
really?
Dollar figure's actually come down.
I was going to say, yeah,
because so many people, well, the total money in it, I think, has gone up, but the total number of applicants has gone up as well. And so you can only get, the maximum you can get if you're a master beef producer is 50%. So you spend $4,000, you get $2,000 back if it qualifies. If you're not master certified, you can get 35% back. Well, heck, I've done the math the last several years when I've applied. Like, even if I was not master certified, the 35% of the money I spent would have still exceeded the maximum. So I'm like, well, dang, I don't know that it really even pays off.
Yeah, it was worth it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Not so in some years it may, depending on what I buy and how much I spend, but.
So you may not ever be the extraordinarily advanced master beef producer.
Yeah, at some point, it will not be worth my time. my time becomes more and more precious every day, it seems like. And there will come a point in time where it's like, okay, especially if I'm maxing out the dollar amount, even at the 35% level. But anyway.
That's kind of the problem that I run into with the master row crop producer or whatever that they do now. Because I've like, looked at it quite a few times, and there was some stuff they offer in there, but man, I mean, I think the maximum dollars was like $7,000 or $10,000. I'll be honest, in the world of row crop stuff, whether it's tractors, different equipment, you might as well wipe your ass with that kind of money. Like, it's because you burn that. And I'm not saying like, yeah, that would help having it in there, but like, that's going to be, I mean, you're going to max that out immediately.
So if it's still that 35% versus 50%, it's not going to matter.
No, it ain't going to matter.
Maxed out no matter what.
Yes, like, I mean, and then they're adding little things. Like, there's a lot of stuff I wish they'd add, because they have like a drill. Like I think at one time a drill would qualify, and I will say you can get like a guy that was starting out, you could buy a drill for probably $7,000. So I mean, it would help there, but like I wish, because they have some planters. So like I bought a used planter last year, and it's a 2018 model, and it was like $100,000. So I mean, you're gonna max that out immediately, and I mean, in all honesty, I'm financing the thing. So what is another 5 or 10 grand over a 5-year time span? Like, it doesn't really.
Right. It's not making, and I guess that's why like the cattle side of things is probably, I would say that
Bigger,
program
yeah.
is a lot bigger because we're not dealing with quite as crazy a dollar figures. Not the average size guy in the state, which
Yeah.
and do my Jen Psaki here to circle back to the college thing one time. And I have thought about this because most of the guys I knew, everybody was the generic ag business.
Yeah.
Like not everybody, but that was most people. And if I was, and that would include most of them that were going back to the farm.
Yeah.
I would have majored, if that's what I was doing, I would have done plant science.
Yeah.
Because the business side of things, like we've said on here, you don't make any money growing a crop. You make money selling a crop.
Yeah.
But I feel like there are very easily accessible resources to help you there. Like our buddy Lee, who was a guest here, like he does that for people. Like you hire him, like his whole thing is you let him do that. You concentrate on growing the crop. He'll tell you and help you on the other side.
The selling part of it. Yeah.
Where your thing is you're understanding, intimately all the biology, the crazy plant breeding and genetics and all that. That's where, the biochemistry, even behind, chemical applications and stuff. I think that would probably benefit most folks. They're going right back to a row crop operation, obviously.
Yeah.
More so than just getting the ag business degree. I think a lot of them got the ag business degree because I think when you got into plant science, that meant you had to get into like some genetics courses,
some harder stuff,
some more chemistry, which everybody complained about chemistry. I'm like, now you're the guys that probably should understand a little bit of chemistry because you're literally dealing with chemicals.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm obviously a big proponent of tech school. That's where, like say plant science could be where I could see where it would be beneficial, but I don't want people to think about it from a degree standpoint because a degree doesn't mean anything. And
right.
As a farmer,
you don't have to use that.
No, now like the stuff that's going to direct, aside from obviously, learning some plant science, biology, stuff like that would be great. But like, if a guy is like, okay, I don't want to go to college, I do advise you, unless you've grown up and been taught well, man, go to tech school and learn how to weld, and learn some basic stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because, dude, welding is something, fabrication is going to happen on the farm. Like we're breaking stuff and welding it and doing things. So, if there's some school, and our tech school here in Covington, they offer, now I don't really know what all it entails, but they offer like it's a part of precision ag now, but it's like drone scouting and doing stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of what they've got the picture of on the billboard advertising that I was thinking about
when
I said that.
I don't know what you're supposed to do with that, as far as like, maybe there's places that are hiring for that. I don't know, but I think
that could come in the future.
Yeah.
I know when my wife had worked for a big ag company, that was getting to be more and more of a thing. Like, and then even some of those drones, they'll spot spray.
There was a huge one at the Gen Show.
Yeah, specifically. But scouting, I think was the big thing.
Yeah.
But
I'm glad to see that because I'm hoping that'll just open the door for more ag stuff. Because my whole gripe with college, it has always been the remedial courses and the things that have nothing to do with the career.
Having to take the general. And I don't know, some of that I think is valuable. I do.
I get it. It's like they're trying to culture you in a sense, but like,
well, there's just, I don't know. Like I always pushed back at the time.
Yeah.
Like English. I'm like, this is stupid. Like I already know this language. I was like, it would be so much more valuable for them to teach us another language.
Yeah.
And then now, like the first thing that makes me immediately dismiss somebody, like especially because so much interaction we have is online, is when somebody uses just terrible grammar or terrible punctuation. Like if I get an email from somebody, and I, like, again, we're not talking about anybody that's submitting questions to us or anything. But like, if somebody's especially hating on one of my videos or something online, like they can't use proper grammar, I'm like, all right, yeah. Your opinion means nothing to me.
Yeah.
You can't use the proper there,
Yeah.
or then or than, and stuff. I'm like, yeah, you're a dumbass.
Well, see, then what I wish they would do it like tech school. When I went to tech school, you had to do a skills test. And if you couldn't, like, you had to meet these levels to go into your class, and they would do, like, if you didn't score high enough here, you went to every day, like, you went ahead and started your program, but I think 2 days a week for a while, you would go to their, like, basically tutor center, essentially.
That's what it sounds like, to catch you up.
And they would get you there. And I mean, typically they would get people there in a matter of weeks.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, I mean, because college largely is a money machine. Like, it's so because if they did it that way, you would shave 2 years off a bachelor degree.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And you could focus more on specifically what you need. But like on the welding thing, I actually took a welding class in college.
Really?
Yeah. It was an ag engineering course.
Yeah.
We had to take, like, even though I was an animal science major, you had to take the intro to ag engineering, which was neat. And then you had to take like one advanced ag engineering course or whatever. And so I took the welding course.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And of course it wasn't much, like it was mostly in the lab. Like you were sitting in a classroom, like them just telling you about, but it was just, I'm trying to think even how many days a week it was. It was like nearly 20 years ago. So we didn't, I became not even a bad welder in that class. I learned, like, I can say that I know how to weld kind of. That's about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I learned some of the safety stuff, which is maybe the first thing you need to learn about welding, but
yeah. Well, in that, I feel like this relates well to that, and this will be the last thing I got. We live in the age, both of us currently have YouTube channels. This goes on YouTube. And I was talking about the age of information. Why do you think, because I finally did put up another video the other day, and I've got one brewing in the tank for the LH Farms page, because I was like, man, I guess I should, because people were commenting like, are you ever when's the next video coming? Yeah. And so I finally put some up and going to try to get back on that. Why do people want to watch farming?
I don't know. And I mean,
I don't say that negatively for anybody listening. But I mean, I wonder why.
And I think a lot of it, and like I see this in my videos, like, just in the ones that do better than others, like animals. A lot of people just don't get to, the average person out there doesn't handle cattle.
Yeah.
And so my videos where I have more animals featured in them typically do better.
Yeah.
I know a lot of the big ag guys, big equipment. Like, people want to see the bigger tractor, the better.
Yeah.
Same with construction equipment, whatever. I think some people, that's probably like more like, I don't know, maybe the younger crowd there. A lot of people our age probably really do get curious, like, where does my food, like, how do they actually do that? I don't know. I think a lot of my audience, and it's hard for me to judge, is a lot of people that actually are in ag already. But maybe they're just really trying to get started. Maybe they are trying to learn, or I get comments from people that are, they're a generation or two removed from the farm. They're like, oh man, they're like, this is so cool.
Reminds me of this.
50 years ago, they're in their 70s now, but my parents or my grandparents, we were on the farm, and it reminds me of helping my granddad, 40 years ago. And so I don't know and like, I look at my audience and I'm like, oh man, my page is really growing. And I'm like, okay, this video gets, a really good one of mine gets 100,000 views.
Yeah.
Like, that's still in the grand scheme of people. Like, even if those are all unique viewers, it's like, okay, I don't know, but some of the big ag channels, their videos hit, just an average video for them is 300,000 or 400,000 views, and I have several that'll go over 1 million.
But
it's still a small, like, when you think about how many, and obviously this is global, which that makes it even seem smaller, but in the grand scheme, I don't know how many people watch the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
In comparison, if it's 40 million or whatever. But yeah, I think people are interested in what we're doing. And I think probably for a variety of reasons.
Yeah, I do think, I guess from on mine, what I've seen, and it's obviously a very small scale, but when I was uploading regularly, a lot of times it did seem like it was people that were wanting to get into the industry, because they'd be like, "Can you do a video on like how do you market your crops or do something like that?" So it was obviously some of those things. I'm like, all right, these people obviously are like, because of, I feel like a guy has no interest in getting into ag really doesn't necessarily care to hear. Well, I say that, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe they do care to hear, like, how do farmers market their crops? Because that's just kind of a specific question. But
yeah, I think you're right there. Because like Tyler asking that question today, he is in ag, because
and I don't think a guy not in ag would even think to ask that question.
Right, and because he had said that they usually see a pretty big difference in the weight gains in their steers versus bulls, and so, which of course I get all the analytics, like the age breakdown and all, but I don't know what background they come from. Like, I guess it'd be nice if you could do like a questionnaire, but almost all my comments I get, or I say that where they get specific enough for me to know, are people that are at least somewhat already in the ag sector. They're not, just somebody living in a total urban environment. Just curious. But I don't know. I hope those people are watching, because when I started my channel, that was kind of one of the things. Like, I want to, reach that audience and show them that, the whole thing of like, where should we be eating meat or not? Like, no, tell them the truth. That way they're not getting their ag information from the New York Times,
the industrial feedlots.
Yeah,
sons of bitches.
Not getting info from biased, sources that are antagonistic to ag.
Yeah, it was funny when I did that review. I guess the only farm video I ever had that really took off was that review of Kiss the Ground that I did.
Yeah,
man, it's funny how heated some people got in there, because like they had Ian Somerhalder. Not Bruno Mars, but can't even remember his name. But him, and then this one chick. Dang, I can't remember her freaking name offhand, but Patricia Arnett, I think, is her name. I haven't seen her in like a relevant film in like 20 years.
They're celebrities. Yeah, I don't even know who these people are.
Yeah, so. That's how they're all like actors and actresses.
Right. D-list celebrities.
Kind of. Ian was in the show. Marcy and I are actually going back. We're watching the show Lost. Did you ever watch it? Where they're on the island?
No, I was about to say it's fairly recent. Like, it's in the last like 10 years. 15 years.
Man, probably 15. Yes. I'm like, well, it ain't that old.
It's not from like the 70s.
No. Yeah, it's newer than Gilligan's Island. But
it's not that island, yeah.
No, I do love Gilligan's Island. But anyways, Ian is in that movie, or that show. But they were one of my gripes with Kiss the Ground, because there's two films. When people always come at me on the Kiss the Ground, I still will get like occasionally a comment on that video. And that video is like 2 years old or something. But the Soul Health Institute, they actually came out and interviewed me and Dad like a year or two ago. They have a documentary. Oh, and I they didn't think I forgot it. Living Soul, I think. The Living Soul, or A Living Soul, I believe is the name of theirs. Phenomenal farming like documentary. It's like an hour long or something on YouTube. And it is done by farmers, biologists, soul health people. There is no celebrities at all in this movie. Like, if there is, he's like a farming celebrity. Like, he's known for being like a high yielder or something.
Yeah.
Nobody would know who he is except for farmers.
Yeah.
The Vampire Diaries guy never shows up in this one.
Yeah.
And I kind of picked it, Kiss the Ground, for they tried to flex the celebrity muscle to gain the clout.
Yeah. Which that shouldn't even, like, that should be the last person that I care about when it comes to ag.
And that was part of my argument. Like, the only credit I gave was Patricia Arnett talked something to do with shit. It was something about, I can't remember how it was, but it was about our shit. I guess I should say feces for more PC
Yeah.
thing, but she talked about that, and in the video I said Patricia Arnett is in Hollywood, so she probably knows about being full of shit, so she's probably okay with that one. But like, you know, Ian Somerhalder was talking about some of the way these people do ranching, I think, and ranching, and then another person, man, I wish I could remember his name. He's like a musician that bought an orchard in California.
Yeah, I remember hearing you talk about that.
Yeah, and he's talking about it, and I'm like, and you know,
you're just a rich guy that bought it, and yeah,
they need the face.
Yeah, it's like what? Yeah, well, you're not an expert in this field at
No.
all. Like not even remotely close.
Yeah.
You're only in this field because you needed a tax write-off.
Yes.
And so you dumped a bunch of money, which makes you even less relevant, in my opinion, because you're probably doing practices that aren't, even remotely economically sustainable.
Oh yeah, well
on a large
that's what
scale,
they were pushing.
You're just trying again. Yeah. Oh yeah, we'll put in this irrigation system or whatever technique you want to name that makes zero sense. But yeah, I need to spend $500,000 somewhere.
Yeah.
So my CPA says for this year.
Yeah.
And make it look like I'm doing something legit.
And that's what I with this podcast, with your channel, with my channel, that's some of the stuff that I try to push back against, because it's amazing. Videos like that, they do a real disservice, because it was obvious. Kiss the Ground is not marketed for farmers. Yeah. It's marketed to the mass population. And like, because I watched it as a farmer, and it's all about regenerative ag. You can watch this on Netflix, by the way. I guess it's still on there, but it's
About
all
that and a bunch of movies about pedophiles.
Yes, yeah. But I finished watching it because the whole movie they're anti-tillage, obviously, which I'm a no-till guy, but they're against tillage pretty much of all kinds. They're against chemicals of pretty much all kinds. They're basically against any sort of like industrial ag. And so you watch this movie and then you get to the end, it's like, okay, so you've told me what's bad, but what is the solution? Because as a farmer, I have to, I got to control the weeds.
The solution is you be a really rich celebrity, and then you can afford, you can afford to eat, however you want to.
I can just pay off the bugs and everything to make them go away.
Well, or no, you just got enough money, and so you don't care about.
That's true.
How other people afford to buy stuff. We'll eat.
Buy a Tesla.
Yeah. You can't afford gas, just buy a Tesla.
Yeah. Yeah. So
problem solved.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that electricity is, comes from the electric ferry.
That's right.
And no fossil fuels involved in generating electricity, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Well, that's that's pretty much. I don't know. I guess to tie that all back, it just goes. There are good things like the Soil Health Institute. If you're wanting to get into farming, you're never going to hear me really tell you need to go to college, but you can. There's a lot of good information out there. There's a lot of good, even on YouTube. I mean, I replaced the toilet in the house that I live in now with YouTube. Like, it is the DIYer thing, and you can learn a lot. Even as a farmer, I actually watch quite a few videos. Some of the top yielders, there'll be videos with them, and I watch their stuff. So,
yeah, I'm a terrible mechanic, and so I watch lots of stuff on.
Yes, me too.
Replacing stuff on my old Jeep or whatever, and there's somebody out there who's done that before. And they'll show me exactly what to do. But
you got the company today?
Oh, I can. I got a little list.
I can't remember. It may have been me, but I don't even. I don't have anybody offhand.
We always get to this part every week. Last week, I think last week I did the Filson 10 cloth, but I can roll us another one. And we do hit on a lot of firearm stuff, I feel like, but I'm gonna go there again.
Let's go there.
And you could list off a dozen companies in this same segment that are all American made, but Allegiant holsters. I recently bought, I think, a couple of holsters from them actually, they're made in the USA. They make all kinds of, whether you want to carry outside the waistband, inside the waistband.
Are they Kydex?
So the one I bought is actually leather, but they have, they have a wide range.
Yeah.
But made in the USA is the main thing. Again, there's a lot of other holster companies out there. Probably a lot of others that I actually have in my closet somewhere. But that was one I bought from them recently. Anytime I buy something made in the USA, I make a note of it.
Yeah.
I know we're probably going to talk about it here at some point. But yeah, Allegiant holsters. If you're carrying a handgun and needing an upgrade on holster, something a little more comfortable. That is one thing I do like about the holster that I got from them. That's one of the biggest things, when it comes to, especially if you're carrying like concealed, is being able to carry it comfortably so that you actually do carry it, because it doesn't do you any good if you don't.
Yeah.
Obviously. But yeah, check them out. Allegiant holsters.
Awesome. All right, guys. If you are listening, we ask that you please leave us a rating and a review and share it. I mean, snap a screenshot, just post it to your story on Instagram or something, and tag me or Bobby Lee on there. We'll give you a shout out. Again, submit your questions, talkdirtpodcast.com. You can submit them on YouTube, any of that. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button and hit the subscribe. We appreciate you.
Yeah, leave us a comment. Yeah, somewhere. That helps the algorithm too. Whatever.
Yep. All right, folks. Have a good one.